this morning. Charles Bisiu is the parliamentary candidate for the MPP for the Akufo-Addo. He, alongside the other frontliner, Professor Grace Ayensu, they've been crisscrossing the media houses and also canvassing votes in the constituency. Good morning to you, Charles Bisiu.
Good morning.
Great.
How are you?
I'm well. How is the constituency and the rounds going?
No, the constituency is doing well. We're all eager for the 7th of December elections. But I believe that the truth is what Ghanaians are looking for now. And my kind of politics is that when it's I come out with facts. It's not based on promises and all that. But then what has transpired, I know Honorable Jogate has been there for 20 years. Our political dispensation is that within it, when you've stayed for some time, people think that you have to go for others to come in. So our vote dwindled. But coming in as a former regional secretary, with my experience in there, I believe that the voters would accept whatever I say, and then actually vote for me. For example, this weekend I start my tour of the various communities to meet delegates, and it's going to be in threefold: what we've done in the community, what I can do while serving them, and the way forward. And let me also add this, that tomorrow the Vice President, who's our flag bearer, is going to be in the Western region. I thought he's doing an Eastern region at all. Yeah, he was in Eastern region, but he's going to be in the Western region tomorrow, and specifically he's going to be in Akufo-Addo.
First or ultimately?
The region is doing one constituency and then later on to Apieti.
Okay.
And so he'll be going to the Kojokrom market, visiting some the Nana Kobnankatia, and then also visit various important areas, and then continue to Apieti. And so I believe that for him to visit Akufo-Addo tells that we are poised towards increase our votes.
Certainly. Well, Charles Bisiu doing 5 minutes of campaigning so far.
It's 1 minute.
It's a minute.
1 minute.
The good thing is that at least Basintali won't take 5 minutes because he's not campaigning for any seats. Just campaigning for John Mahama and then the other parliamentary candidates. So Basintali and Malik Basintali is Deputy Communication Officer for the NDC. Malik, good morning to you.
Good morning.
I've never seen you in Fugo on the set before. Looks very good on you. You're a very handsome man.
Thank you very much.
You're well crafted. Your father's and mother's genes are very good.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I won't take 5 minutes of your time simply because there are very important matters to be discussed, and I would want to allow ample time, for us to be able to delve into issues. But I'm confident that Professor Grace Ayensu will win the Akufo-Addo seat. I'm confident. I won't put our strategy across. I know my brother Charles Bisiu. I wish him well in his race. But on the 7th of January 2025, we will be greeting him, we will be shaking him, and we'll be shaking him as a man who did his best and strived. But the battle is above him. He will do his best, but he wouldn't see the light of the day. I can confidently say that the people of Akufo-Addo will vote massively for Professor Grace Ayensu and will vote massively for His Excellency John Dramani Mahama come December 7th. Well,
already the messages are coming thick and fast under the stream. What we do encourage you is to make sure you go under the stream. Please comment on the various subjects of discussion this morning. I can already see Nelson Yesuto Kofi Akotia. Good morning to you. Andy Balls, good morning. Kofi Zotovi is also joining us. I have Kwame Boateng and all those relevant people who make sure that we're able to. Jacob Abugri, good morning to you. And then all of you who are watching us, Samuel Justice Anaba, and those who make sure that we're able to make the Zilis Dwayne, good morning to you, my great friend in the UK. And then Mani Melda Nasar. Justice Mingle is also watching us this morning. Well, let's begin the discussion looking at the concerns that have been raised by those who are historians, who are the custodians of our tradition and custom, but the critics out there over, they say, the behavior of the president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, when in some instances, he's met some chiefs, and, well, if you look at the videos and also opinions coming from the event ground, it seems to be gesturing towards chiefs to be standing up or maybe speaking to them in a way they think is very untraditionally. And that's what we will begin the discussion with, but we'll start off with a number of recall. We'll recall an incident in which the president, you can play the video as well, because the sounds will not be very good. So you recall an incident in which the president is said to have gestured towards a Ghana chief. And apparently, it was an event that was organized by the Ministry of Sanitation at the time, sanitation at the time. And so the president visibly angry, and apparently it also came out that at the time they were playing the national anthem, the chief didn't stand up, but more so, it also came to light that the chief was unwell. We'll also play you a second one. Let's play a second one as well, in which just recently the president is said to have gestured towards a chief at an official event. That was to mark the final funeral rite of Rashid Bawa, former High Commissioner to Nigeria, for Ghana as well. And this one took place, is in KJB or is it KJB? KJB. I also have a video in which they're concerned that the president seemed to have ignored the Domahine at an event. Now, we'll look at that as well. I would want to first ask Charles Bissio. And Charles Bissio formatively tends to react with and interact with the president very often, as well as Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, DMB, it is possible. So why does the president behave this way towards chiefs, other traditional leaders, Charles Bissio?
Good morning, Roland. When was my last interaction with the president?
You're asking me if I know.
Yeah, because you say you know that I interact with him.
Oh, so you don't interact with the president?
No, but he haven't answered my question. Anyway, that's just by the way. Okay, good morning to your listeners. First of all, Roland, the president, let's take Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo out of the president as a person, and then look at it as a presidency, which is more like the embodiment of this country, where we accord respect to, and also our chieftaincy institutions, where within the Constitution of Ghana, Article 270, I think to 277, has been actually dedicated to them. It outlines the roles of chiefs in this country. And so the president going out there to visit chiefs, if they're paramount chiefs and all that, I believe that we know the customs, because he's been to my region when I was a regional secretary for 8 years. Whenever we're going out there to meet chiefs, he came up with the mostly the, I wouldn't say strategy, but programs. We send it to him.
You mean in terms of the protocol itinerary?
Protocols and all that. That first of all, wherever we go, the land, the custodian of the land must be what? Revered. So we'll go to the palaces first. He speaks and then asks permission from the custodian of the land before actually proceeding to meet his or her subjects. Now, from these incidents, what you've shown me, you mentioned that he ignored the Doma chief.
I'll show you that video.
Yes, but then you're going to show the one from Dagbon as well.
You haven't
mentioned it, but that's one that is also going on, the propaganda going on that the president asked the
I haven't
chief.
mentioned it.
No, but I haven't mentioned it, but I think that if that had come in...
You can bring it in your discussion.
Yes, I'm mentioning it now, but I would have thought that you'd have been fair showing that as well, so that there's a balance. But let me just move on with that. But I would just want to emphasize on that. I know your users can actually retrieve that, because you said you're going to show...
You mean the Yagbonra one?
Yes, that when the NDC came out to say that he was asking the paramount chief to get up and come and read, which wasn't the case. This year, we're in a year of elections, so yes, there will be propaganda. I wouldn't say the president is faultless or not fallible. He's a human being. But I'm taking the presidency out of the person, where all of us must adhere to it and then conform to what the Constitution.
Mr. What's your point?
I'm building my point, so don't derail me. So I'm saying that again by reiterating that the Constitution actually what confers on us what we have to do. Now, you gave an example of the Ga chief, where the president asked him to what get up. I think that was the national anthem which was being played, and then everybody had to what stand up for it. The president didn't know that the chief wasn't well, so he asked the regional minister that why is he sitting when the national anthem, which I mean all of us have to what conform to or obey to, was sitting up. Subsequent to that, were told that the chief wasn't well. So I think that we should actually let that slide. Because
Mr. Charles, are you saying that there was an instance in which the president, because he didn't have foreknowledge that the chief wasn't well, then decided to make the gesture towards the chief? Is that what you're saying?
No, he asked the regional minister to ask him to get up because the national anthem.
So you are giving an excuse for the president that because he didn't know that the chief was not well.
When you and I are walking past and the national anthem is being played, okay, it's our duty or our responsibility to stand for it to be played.
Actually,
and that
stand up. Yes.
Exactly, and that applies to every citizen in this country.
You are right.
So the president, who the Constitution has mandated, okay, I know the judiciary more like protecting our Constitution and all that, but he implementing the Constitution, I believe that this was the right thing. However, later on they were told that the chief wasn't well. So that should slide. Now, the KJB chief, I know that wherever the president goes, there are paramounts, there are divisional chiefs and then all that. Paramount chiefs, the president has never asked any paramount chief to get up for him. That's why I'm saying that you can bring the other one.
Mr. Charles, are you saying that the president distinguishes between which chief to pay courtesies to or not? Is that what you're saying?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I said
so
the president, I'm saying that the president, okay, reveres paramount chiefs, and he's never asked any paramount chief to get up and come and greet him. That's why I'm saying that you need to show the one that happened recently, that because you've chosen things that you believe that will sell. You understand? I know that in this country bad news sell, but then was it really the case? Gestures. You understand? The president making a gesture or the bodyguard asking somebody to give way, because with that they wanted access. And he said, give way for us to go and greet the paramount chief. And then it was twisted and said that the president was asking the paramount chief.
But that's for the Yagbonwura, right?
Yes. Okay. And then with the KJB one, was he a paramount chief?
Please show the KJB one.
With all due respect, you understand?
The KJB one, the one,
yes,
the
with
second
all due
one.
respect to the chieftaincy institution, what was is it a divisional chief, Odikro, or what?
So you watched it and interpret this for me?
No, but I've seen it. But I'm saying that you haven't even mentioned the chief's name, the rank, where he stands in our chieftaincy institution. We need to know if it's a paramount chief that the president said no. Because if a president meets paramount chiefs, I've never seen him ask any paramount chief to get up for him. So my take on it is that I think this is an election year. We're trying to spin things to make us look good. But I started by saying that the president reveres chiefs, and most of the programs that we have attended, protocols and all that, he said that let us go to the custodian of the land, ask for permission before we meet their subject. If that person has done that, and that has never been discussed. But one or two things that happen, and these are gestures, they are not words, where we can't even hear what he's saying. So I would actually respectfully ask that we find out, was he really a chief sitting there? What was it? Was he a paramount chief, a divisional chief, or the crew? Then we can be having a conversation. But respectfully, I would also ask that you show the one from the Yabonra so that people see that.
Because I don't know why because I never mentioned that instance. Indeed, my position on that subject is there needs to be clarity on whether or not the information out there or the speculation did happen. And so that's my position. That's how come I never showed it. And we need
to know...
But there have been no instances.
We also need to know...
Because this is a recent one. That was last week.
Yeah, so we also need to know the status of the chiefs, where the president has to actually go greet him, or the chiefs because the chieftaincy institutions can actually explain that, and this calls for us to do an introspection, because I've never seen, like I said, I've never seen the president asking a paramount chief to get up for him. And I'm saying that there are divisional chiefs, there are decros, and people come out. I've been to places like Italy and all that, and our chieftaincy institution have actually expanded there, where we have the Asante
in the diaspora.
Yes, Bekwai and all that. And are we saying that those chiefs as well, should the president go and then... So,
Mr. Charles Bishop, I asked a very simple question. You didn't answer me. Are you saying that the president distinguishes which categories of chiefs within the chain or tier that he pays courtesies to?
I'm saying that the president, I've never seen the president asking a paramount chief to what? To get up for him to greet him. And I also mentioned that the president reveres the chieftaincy institution, and that wherever he's been to, he's asked that we go to see the chiefs, even the chiefs who are, the status. I have to be careful where I place it. But he's gone to see the chiefs of the land and then actually ask for their permission. And I'm also saying that this calls for introspection, where the president, the kind of chief that the president must what? Go greet, and the chiefs that must get up for the president.
So the clarion call is that the president doesn't discriminate. He's an individual. At the end of the day, he's also the president occupying an office which is an embodiment of state that needs to be given reverence and respect.
First of all, if I hadn't seen the leadership of President Mahama, I would have thought that power naturally makes everyone arrogant.
What do you mean by that? What does President Mahama got to do with this?
Now, the Constitution begins with, in the name of God Almighty, which means that whatever we do on this land is based on the conduct and proceedings, the morality of God Almighty. Even in religion, if you are sick and you cannot stand to worship, even in the Islamic religion, you have every right to sit down and worship God. And so that excuse that because the national anthem was being played and the Mempe Asem chief was sick, at all costs, he ought to have stood up. 2 weeks after that Mempe Asem incident, the national anthem was being played where the president's daughter was receiving a phone call whilst the national anthem was being played.
What's your point with that?
Mr. Akufo-Addo was standing, the national anthem was being played, and his daughter was busily speaking to someone on phone. My point is that you cannot do one thing and on an earlier date and do another thing on another day. You shouted on the chief, you embarrassed the chief, you disgraced a chief, all because you claimed the national anthem was being played and the chief refused to stand on his feet. And then just a week after, your daughter is seen to be making a phone call when same national anthem is being played. What sort of disrespect is this to our traditional authorities? Number two, Charles makes a point that Mr. Akufo-Addo has never disrespected or asked any paramount chief to stand. Let me quickly make this correction. The chief Mr. Akufo-Addo was shouting on is the paramount chief of the Dodo Amanfrom traditional area in the Akan constituency. The paramount chief. They have 8 paramouncies in that particular traditional area. We have the Dodo traditional area, the Dodi traditional area, the Dapa traditional area, the Ampeyo traditional area, the Ahamanso traditional area, the Kajebi traditional area, and these are all paramount chiefs.
Well, the argument is that shouldn't the order or the category matter?
He said paramouncies, and I'm telling him that the people Mr. Akufo-Addo asked to stand up were paramount chiefs. They were not ordinary chiefs. Mr. Akufo-Addo went lining them up, shouting on them, and embarrassingly, his bodyguard was standing there and shouting at the whole chief of the Dodo Amanfrom traditional area. I looked at the video and I felt sad for a moment. Is this what power does to people? When you were campaigning, you were lying down, bowing down to chiefs, and Dr. Bawumia has started that. Lying down, hailing chiefs, and all of a sudden, President Akufo-Addo feels that he's bigger. And so he's bigger than even God, who understands people when they sit down to worship him. Now, this is not the first instance. If you remember, when the Aflao chief asked Mr. Akufo-Addo to please, in the name of God, complete an e-block that was started by President Mahama, did you listen to the response of Mr. Akufo-Addo? He looked at the traditional chief, the paramount chief, and said, look, if you have guts, if you think you can complete it, go and complete it and start using it. Gross disrespect to the people of the Volta region.
You mean just because of the president's response?
Absolutely. When the Kumfi chiefs visited him and they were asking why he hasn't developed their area, did you listen to his response to them? He said, you refuse to give me an MP. And so to hell with you, I won't develop your place. Whenever you give me an MP, I'll think about you. This is the levels of disrespect President Akufo-Addo on a repeated basis gives to our traditional authorities. Now Mr. Akufo-Addo goes to the Yegbon Rest Palace, and I was glad I chipped that in. I'm sure he knew I was going to talk about that. Me, Malik Basentali, I'm a proud son of Gonjaland. My mother was from Damango. I speak fluent Gonja, and I started my political career in the Savannah region. I know the ins and outs and the traditions of Gonja land. Mr. Akufo-Addo went to the Damba festival. He was given an itinerary and he knew where he was supposed to speak.
Well, can we get that video then?
Absolutely. I will interpret the Gonja they were speaking. He doesn't understand Gonja, so he doesn't know what they were saying there. If you can play it and play the sound, I will interpret what the sub-chiefs were saying. The sub-chiefs were shouting on the chief not to stand up. So you see the chief remove his hand, and he did this. He said, no, look at it. That's right. He says, I won't get up. He did this. The sub-chiefs were saying, Sankoso in Gonja means don't stand up.
Are you sure?
I'm telling you that I'm a Gonja.
Sankoso.
I'm telling you I'm interpreting Gonja to you. You can call any Gonja into the studio and let him interpret it.
Are you sure?
The sub-chiefs were telling him, Sankoso, don't get up. And the chief removed his hand from his regalia. And then he did this. He said no, and then shook his head this way. Then Mr. Akufo-Addo had to walk to him. Now, interestingly, let me tell you what transpired after. Just because Mr. Akufo-Addo was angry that he had been bruised, his ego had been bruised, he did not spend up to 20 minutes at the program. And Charles, you can ask your party people. Per protocol, and you spoke about itinerary, per protocol, we're supposed to give the opening prayer. The Gonjaland Youth Association president was supposed to speak. The Yegbonra was supposed to give his remarks. President Mahama was supposed to speak. And then, of course, the president of the republic will give his final remarks. Just when the Gonjaland president started speaking, Mr. Akufo-Addo got up and ordered that he wanted to speak and leave, and that his helicopter had already been sparked. He took the mic, he spoke before the Yegbonra, and then immediately when he was done, he left the scene. It was the Gonjaland Youth Association Congress. Everybody, we were all there. He left the scene. So as of today, President Akufo-Addo does not even know the speech the Yegbonra gave. And usually, how can you come to my house?
But the president has various itineraries.
I'm saying that
please end for me.
He agreed and accepted the itinerary that was given to him. As of today, President Akufo-Addo cannot tell what the Yegbonra even said at the venue. How can I invite you to my program? And me, that I'm supposed to speak, so that you listen to me and at least respond as the final man. Just because you were angry and refused to stand, you walk out of the place. And you see, look, Roland, Mr. Akufo-Addo continuously disrespects our traditional authorities. But what saddens my heart is what he has trained Alhaji Bawumia to start doing. And Alhaji Bawumia has decided to start lying to our traditional authorities. Dr. Bawumia went to the Yanes Palace, and you see, Charles, you know this, that when you lie in the palace, in somewhere even in the north, sometimes those days, you could even be turned into a goat. Alhaji Bawumia went to the Yana, looked at him, and told him, I'm going to build an agricultural university for you. Told him, I'm going to build a strip for you. Till date, not a single block has been built. And so, continuously, I beg your pardon, continuously, out of the arrogance of President Akufo-Addo and his constant disregard and disrespect to our chiefs, he's gradually training Alhaji Bawumia into that same corridor. And you see, all I want to say is that, look, Roland, power shouldn't make us this arrogant. If power can make you so pompous, if power can make you feel so big of yourself, to the extent that you talk recklessly to traditional rulers.
What do you mean by reckless?
No, I feel sad because.
Meaning what?
But for the fact that the Yegbonra stood his grounds, our traditional authority would.
But there are videos where the president went to greet the Yagbonwura.
And there are videos where the president. There are videos in recent times the president greeted Ochehene. He never ordered him to stand up. So why is it that you go to the Oti region and ask paramount chiefs to stand on their feet? I feel sad. And you see, the Oti Regional Traditional Council needs a little cleansing. I dare say it here. What Mr. Akufo-Addo did there was to desecrate their throne, was to shout on their ruler and ask him
Mr.
to
Charles
stand up.
Bishop, but Malik, let me refer to you.
I'm ready to support
There's a
them
point that Charles Bishop has been making here, and I think that all of us need to take cognizance of that. Mm-hmm. If you go to Article 57.1, it says the president shall be a president of the Republic of Ghana, who shall be the head of state.
That's right.
And head of government and commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces.
That's right.
He takes precedence over everybody. Somebody will please.
So I'll answer that quickly. I need to answer that. No, you asked me a question. So which means that, no, Roland, just a brief one. Which means that, just a brief one. I beg you, just a minute. Which means that, if there's anyone who needs water, you should need water. I'm coming.
Hold on for me.
Okay, so
on this very subject of Article 57 and the overriding powers of the president, just opposing that with, let's say, the chiefs and the reverence that needs to be given to them.
Yes. So basically, all I'm saying is that we need an introspection into it to say the kind of chiefs, because the Constitution has stated that the president is the head of state. So he actually takes precedence over everything. However, he came from a family, and he also came from a royal family. Most of us have come from royal families, and we know how we revere our chiefs. And our culture is such that we revere the elderly. So sometimes we've seen precedents knowing that this person is even older than me, and then one way or the other, they've actually showed respect to them. And so I think there has to be an introspection. At this point in time, Roland, I don't think trying to touch on people's emotions and all that, we need to actually be factual in the things that we say. You see, when he was talking about the Yabongura's video, he said Sankusu. There's no voice, but the gestures showed that somebody should give way to the president to go and greet the Yabongura. And you could see the bodyguard holding and then actually, protecting the president to go there. So the person was actually walking up there. So I don't think in this day and age where technology and stuff like that, there's AI, people can actually falsify things, which I'm not saying that these things have been done. But I don't think we should be doing propaganda with this thing. But my
do you think it's a deliberate attempt to denigrate the president or create some mischief or propaganda? That's a position.
That's stock in trade. The NDC has done that severally. You understand? And for me, in the past, let me tell you a story. You know, in 2018, in 2018, when 2008, when the president couldn't visit all constituencies, there was this story that he couldn't visit somewhere, and then the NDC went and told the people that the president is a cripple, hence he cannot travel across the whole country. Now, in 2012, we visited, yes, I'm telling you this. In 2012, we went with Wachi Jakure and them lot. When the president got out of the vehicle, there was this man who came out and said, I thought you were a cripple, because the NDC came here and told us this. And I'm just saying this, reiterating this, that those times, you know, that era is gone. At this point in time, whenever things are said, we can actually go and check the facts as it were. It doesn't mean that the president is not fallible. He's a human being, but we're looking at the human being and the presidency, and he was protecting the presidency by saying that there's a national anthem being played. It is my duty to ensure that everybody bows to the national anthem. Subsequent to that, we realized that the chief wasn't well, so that's fine. For ill health, you can sit there, but the president, I think, did the right thing by asking that we should actually get everyone to listen. Obey the national anthem of Ghana.
Just 2 minutes for you, please. I want to move to the next episode.
Look, the fact is that
you need to play that.
If you, my brother, I beg your pardon.
We haven't seen it.
Please, the Yagbonwura,
They played it.
No, the general public. We need
They
to see
played
it
it.
respectfully.
We can play it 10 times, but that will not be in my time. If you want to play it,
You
fine.
just have
You
2 minutes.
mentioned
So tell him to stop what he's doing.
wait.
Let me go on. Look, if you want to apologize for the president, on behalf of the president, just do it. Look, what you can't accuse the NDC for being the reason why President Akufo-Addo asked their Flower chief to get up and go and open the E-block if he wanted to do so. You can't accuse the NDC for being the one. So are you telling us that we whispered into Mr. Akufo-Addo's ears to tell the Kumfi chiefs that because they didn't vote for him, they will not get development? Are you telling me that we pushed Mr. Akufo-Addo to go to the Oti region and ask the Dodo traditional paramount chief to stand up and greet him and ask his bodyguard to shout on him? Is that what you're telling us? What has the NDC got to do with this? So this pension equalization, an attempt to say NDC did this. Where was I at the Oti funeral? Was I walking by the president?
What's your point with that?
Did I whisper into the president's ear?
The actions of the president are being misconstrued. That's his position.
How they be misconstrued? You watched it. You saw Mr. Akufo-Addo shouting on the chief to stand up. Didn't you watch the video? And so you're supposed to correct him that the NDC has no business in this. We respect traditional authorities. Look, if you want chiefs to stand up and greet you, perform. When you perform well, they will greet you. I remember in 2016, and he gave a story. Let me give my story to him. In 2016, when President Mahama was campaigning,
Your time is up.
Immediately he gets to a chief's palace. The chief will stand up automatically and hug him because he had given the chief a school, he had given him a hospital, he had made his roads for him and all of that. When chiefs appreciate your work, they will stand up and hug you. But Mr. Akufo-Addo, of course, knows he's failed as a president. But the failed president now wants chiefs to stand up and hug him. Hug you for what? And that is why he keeps shouting on them. Look, please, let us distinguish power from arrogance. Let's learn to be humble, even if God bestows kingship on us. If you become president, don't go around disrespecting our traditional authorities. And as for this one, I won't shout on Mr. Akufo-Addo. He's elderly. I wish to appeal to him. Please.
You eventually saw the president go and greet the Yagbonura.
In the name of God.
Roland.
Roland, no, you're asking a question. Let me answer that.
When President
Roland, why will you ask me a question and you don't want me to answer? And then you come in and you want to take in my time. Roland, you have to.
The chief stood up and greeted him.
That's right.
Yes.
He didn't shout on him to stand up.
No, can I finish? The chief stood up and greeted him. Was that right?
Yes.
What's your point?
My point is that the chiefs that stood up and greeted President Mahama, are they paramount chiefs or just normal chiefs, or they were just
Some were paramount.
It's a question.
paramount chiefs?
Exactly.
You
Yes,
understand?
so some were paramount.
So are you getting my point?
Yes.
So when the ex-president, when you walked in for party function, you understand, they got up to greet him.
That's right.
You understand? Okay. And then juxtaposing that with the president, the current president, coming in and the national anthem being played, and he said, "Can we obey the national anthem?"
I'm talking about their flower
So
chief.
you see, at this point,
And
spinning,
no.
I mean,
But you give me my
spinning,
time.
spinning
You can't
all
let
these
him
things.
overuse
And
my time,
all I'm
Bola.
saying is that we can sit here and say these things, and then just recently, President Mahama and he's talking about equalization. That's no, I didn't even actually open up with that because that was not what it was.
All right.
I'm saying that there has to be an introspection. Let's look at it. Article 270 to 277 is for the chiefs, the custodians of the land. Our actions. So we need to look at the things that's about. I'm only pointing this out. That when the President Mahama reveres chiefs, so when the chiefs got up, he could have asked them to sit for him to come and greet them, but that wasn't done. Really. You know
what kind of correlation is this?
mean
President Mahama goes in and chiefs stand voluntarily to greet
Yes,
him.
you've made your
And let me make my point. Chiefs stand voluntarily to greet him, and you equalize it to someone shouting on chiefs to stand up. You are going around begging people and commanding, forcing people to respect you. That's different from when you perform, and chiefs appreciate your work. I have seen paramount chiefs, big chiefs, actually stand up willingly, voluntarily, and hug President Mahama because he performed, he did for them. But if you go to a community where paramount chiefs look at you and say, "Look, you failed, you haven't given me anything, I don't see a reason." Maybe because I didn't give you an MP, and the president said, "If you don't give him an MP, you won't develop your place." Maybe because I didn't give you an MP, and you decide to shout on them.
Well,
it
soon
becomes embarrassing. And
we'll have on the screen.
We are appealing to
Lawyer
Mr. Akufo-Addo to respect,
to give us some clarification on the subject.
Our traditional authorities. When you go to Rome, you do what Romans do. When you go to his palace and he sits on the skins, there's a reason why they sit on the skins or they sit on the tools. I've watched President Akufo-Addo greet the Ochehene. He never shouted on him to stand up. He moved there and even knelt down and greeted him. I watched the video. I can send you the video for you to play. So why is it that when you come to the Volta region, you come to the central region, you go to the northern region, the Bono, and sometimes even around the Ashanti regions, you now start shouting on chiefs to stand up and greet you?
Right.
Well, I mean, greet you for what? What have you done for them?
I have lawyer,
it's
legal
shameful.
practitioner, as well as historian, lawyer Anoche Frimpong on the line. Good morning to you, lawyer Anoche Frimpong.
Good morning, sir.
Have you cited the litany of videos that have generated controversy in relation to the president either gesturing, for which some others say very undecorously or uncustomarily, to chiefs? And how does that sync with the obeisance that need to be given to chiefs if, let's say, in a normal function, the president of the land is also there? What usually should be the tradition or the norm?
First of all, let me answer that I have seen some of these videos going around. I've seen them. And then second, let me also say that a politician, I would not want to use the name of a person or a personality such as the president. No, I'm not addressing the president. I'm not addressing a political party. I don't want to be seen doing that. I'm talking custom, and I want to draw a line between custom and politics. Now, the Constitution under Article 11 recognizes the custom of the people of Ghana as forming part and parcel of the laws of this country. In fact, let me give you the best example, starting from Nkrumah's time. Nkrumah was accused of not respecting chiefs. And Nkrumah responded by saying that they would run away, leaving their sandals behind. And he explained that running away and leaving your sandals behind meant that the custom and the respect and dignity given to chiefs are found in or symbolized by the sandals. So all that he was trying to say was that the bad ones who had ascended the throne wrongfully or had jumped into the arena of politics and immorality were those who would be chased away. But as for the custom, Nobody knows when customs started in law. We always say that, and they will never end, and you cannot add or take anything from custom. Custom, as symbolized by the sandals of the chief, would forever be preserved. Using that as a background, I'm trying to say that a chief, whether from Polonkumbungu in the north or from Ahanta or Fanti in the south, they have the same recognition and then the same custom. And the reason is that we have been together for nearly 1,000 years, long before we became Gold Coast. They were trading and fighting among themselves, and then various tribes putting together things that one is learning from here and the other. So eventually, all crystallizing into one constitution, chieftaincy custom. And what is the basic one of it? From the southernmost part of the most part of the country, his people will come first. Everybody would be seated. And so when the chief enters, for example, among the chief speaking people will say that Nana Ebo, the answer in Nana Ebo. So it means that we get seated first to await our chief. The moment the chief sits, everything is quiet, everybody is quiet. And when it comes to his turn to speak, say Nanakasa Brebe, Nanakasa Brebe. That means all focus, all attention is on the chief. After all, the wealth of that state, community, or nation is embodied in the chief. That is why he's the only person who wears the golden crown, golden sandal, and put all those regalia on his body. He's the embodiment, the personality of that state. So all focus is on him. Then the third one is that we have a saying among the Akans that Openi Ejaruya na insio asa. The moment an elder finishes bathing, there is no more water left. That means that the chief will be the last person to speak, and the chief, after him nobody speaks, and the chief would also, having finished his duty at the parade ground or the meeting, would have nothing more left than to get up.
Lawyer
And the moment, yes.
So in this instance where you have elaborated what the roles of the chiefs are and the respect therein that is given to them, in this constitutional era where we are witnessing some of these incidents, and in these specific instances, what usually should be the norm? Because we have a constitutional precedent. I was
concluding by telling you that the moment the chief, nobody can ask the chief to get up. It is when he wants to get up. And when you visit a chief, remember, the chief did not come to you at Flagstaff House or whatever name they give to it. You went to him, so he is your host. So you don't tell a host anywhere in the world what to do. The Fanti says, or the Fanti have a saying that a visitor does not eat palm nut soup. That is to say, palm nut soup, the fan among the Fanti, so delicious, a delicacy, they like it. It is not the visitor who will tell the host that I would want palm nut soup this evening. No. So whether you are president, you are whatever, when you visit a chief, you are not the one to instruct him to get up. And I've got two instances here. Do you know that when Pope John Paul II visited the Asantehene Otumfuo Opokuwari, who were then young in the late 70s or so, I should think, no, yeah, late 70s or 1980, the Asantehene got up for him to shake hands with him. And he explained that the reason why for once he was standing up to a human being was that he saw somebody like God standing before him, and he knows he has respect for God. Now, some years later, in about 1991-92, when the British monarch visited Ashanti, the Asantehene sat when the prince, is it Edward or the other one, Charles, kept standing. And then I was in Britain. I read it in British newspapers. Why the Asantehene had to sit? Said that according to the Ghanaian custom, the visitor will have to keep standing, and the host, when he's a chief, will have to keep sitting. So when the British respect this, and the British were here so many times, years and centuries Before anybody became a minister, any Ghanaian became a president or a minister. So when you visit the chief, you should be ready to respect the age-old tradition.
Lawyer Anoche Frimpong.
What to do.
All categories of chiefs, whether they are small chiefs, paramount chiefs, divisional chiefs?
Of course, a chief is a chief. And two, when he does not visit you in your office and you go to him, whether he's a Womefia himself or he's a Dufia like an Odikro, you are not the one to tell him what to do. He rather sells to you his custom. He sells to you his custom. You are not, as a politician, to go and tell him what his custom is. Two, it is not written anywhere in the law of Ghana that when a president or a minister or anybody goes to any chief in Ghana, the chief is supposed to stand up in order that there could be decorum. No. No.
Lawyer Anoche Frimpong, thank you very much. He's a legal practitioner as well as a historian, putting the icing on the cake on this discussion this morning. We'll be going to just together the latest from the by-election, and we'll do that as much as possible. But we also have the roundup issue where the former president, John Dramani Mahama, is criticizing the current president as well for his utterances, specifically related to power not being handed over to any other person except someone of his own because he is president, etc. And the former president has, in a specific speech during a visit, as well as even posted it across his socials, what the specific issues are for which he's unhappy about. And that, of course, relates to how to make sure that we have some level of decorum as well as the sanity that is needed to prevail before the 2024 general elections. Okay, you want to make a word or two before we go? Any of you?
I mean, I listened to the historian, and clearly we have learnt, I'm sure Charles has learnt, that even if the chiefs who came for the Deba at UPSA stood up to greet President Mahama, aside President Mahama even performing, they knew they had been invited to a program, and that was not in their homes. And traditionally, they were supposed to stand and greet him. But in this case, President Akufo-Addo visited the chiefs. And then in many of those instances, you could see clearly how he disrespected them to the extent that his bodyguard was using his left hand to shout on them and tell them to stand up. Look, that must stop. I think that together, myself and you, Charles, let's advise Mr. Akufo-Addo. That tangent, that trajectory is wrong. He cannot desecrate our traditional authorities in this manner. Well, let us learn to respect our traditional rulership. Then look, I dare say, I am a true son of Gonjaland. That if the next time President Akufo-Addo attempts telling the Yegbonra to stand up, something may happen in the palace. It's traditional. Something may happen. Well, in the past, when you try that, you can be turned even into a goat. But if he tries that again, something will happen in the palace. Mark my words anyway. And I say this in all sincerity, that you cannot do that. You cannot tell the Egbonra to stand up. You can't tell Yana to stand up and greet you. Who do you think you are? The next time he tries that, anywhere, any palace of the north. He doesn't speak. He doesn't understand Gonja. He doesn't understand Gonja. He wasn't at the event, so he knows nothing. All he's speaking to are speaking points. I speak Gonja. I was there. I saw what happened, and I saw how President Akufo-Addo angrily left the scene. Just this morning, I'm told that they've sent a delegation of MPP elders to go and apologize to the Egbonra for whatever happened. I'm just reliably informed.
Who told you that?
They know they just
Charles is being aware.
They know he's not from Savannah. He doesn't speak Gonja. I've told you.
Let me categorically
but the next time Mr. Akufo-Addo attempts
let me categorically
in
please,
the palace.
Please retract this statement about the goats.
I said in the past, anyone who does that is usually turned into a goat. If you lie to a paramount,
but you can't say that to the president.
Listen to me carefully.
No, please.
Can you listen? Can you listen? You are not listening to me.
I'm listening to you.
I said,
I'm listening to you.
Yes, so
I'm
listen
listening to you. This analogy, please.
Hold on. I am
withdraw this analogy.
No, I'm saying that. No. But on this, I'm saying that. Listen to me.
Withdraw this analogy.
I said in the past, in the northern parts, if you lie before a throne or you attempt challenging or commanding a chief, you are turned into a goat. But Mr. Akufo-Addo wasn't turned into a goat, which means that maybe civilization has come. But I'm saying that the next time he attempts doing that to we the young men and women will not take charge. Mark my words.
I will not allow you to make threats.
Well, I've said that. I'm a son of Gunjaland. I won't let our throne be desecrated in that manner.
He's done it in the
no problem. He's done it in the Uti region, yes. But I
categorically we disassociate ourselves. But I stand with it. Usually make such a statement.
I stand with it. I said I stand with it. He's done it in the Uti region. He will never do it in the North again.
Your 2 minutes.
This will be the last. Okay. This will be the last.
Roland, Repsister Loketia, I say the thing speaks for itself, doesn't it? I mean, being able to string words together doesn't mean that you have the liberty to say whatever you like. You know, when the historian was talking, he spoke about the constitution and our customs. Okay, I think there's a dichotomy. Okay, or maybe for want of a better word, I'm saying that we should have an introspection, because he spoke about history, where Nkrumah said the chiefs would run and leave their sandals and all that, and then he explained it. And then he went further. You prompted him as to what the constitution says. You understand? So there's a departure from there. We haven't been able to actually marry that together to say the president, being the head of state, okay, supersedes over everything else. When you come into somebody's home, okay, the person allows you in, gets in, and then asks you to sit before the person sits. With the chieftaincy and all that, I'm not going to go into it, because I'm saying that it's a thorny area where we go in there, and then you might even, the NDC might latch onto it. But I'm saying that we need to look at it and have an introspection into it. But what my brother has said, I mean, threatening and all that, I don't think this is the way to go. No, this is not the way to go. You understand? We are having a discourse. We are having a discourse. Malik. We are having a discourse as to what
the statement you made.
You understand? So I'm saying that yes, you are advising me to go and then see President Akufo-Addo to go and apologize. That's fine. That's your prerogative. That's what you said. No, that's your prerogative. That's what you said. But the things that we said, the youth of this country, I don't think all of them would actually conform to this, because we're getting to a situation in this country where, I mean, said because of politics, we think that we can say certain things and get away with it. And I know that viewers are watching us, you understand? Where it is, can I...
Malik, can you let him make a spot?
You know, so I'm saying that we're getting to our political dispensation is getting to a point that I believe that facts must be the things that we have to go. I'm in my politics, I think that what my brother has said is not right, you understand? First of all, if we're doing political party politics, you understand? And aside of that, the person being an elderly person, you know, I've sat here, I haven't even said one bad thing about President Mahama. But it doesn't mean that, you understand, everything that he does is right, you understand. He's been the ex-president of this country, so I will only challenge the things that he's done.
What do you make of the president's actions on the chiefs?
I've already explained that. So,
which is what?
I said that previously, when we go out there, the president knows the protocols. Number two, the Jabon thing that he showed, I mean, his area, thing that the words that he was mentioning, we didn't hear it. You didn't show the whole thing, you understand? And then number three, I'm saying that there has to be an introspection, because the president asking the chief to get up for the national anthem, subsequent to that, we finding out that the chief wasn't well. But the president, as the head of state, knows that everybody must obey the national anthem of this country. And these are things that we've said. And I'm saying that let's take the president out and look at the presidency, where we are all protecting the presidency. And I'm saying that President Mahama, you understand, the last time, 2 years ago, in 2020, he lives around Chado. We saw him with the lawnmower, mowing the lawns. Who was he deceiving? You understand? And then last year,
the former president.
Yes.
Mowing is a deception.
Yes, and then no, because it was
the former president mowing is a deception.
I would land with something.
Please land.
So when he did that, then last year, this gentleman, Osu Bempa, said they were going to picket at his office.
What are able to do with that discussion?
So I'm giving.
I'll not allow you.
No. Can I please? No. Roland, you're being unfair. No. No.
I'm not being unfair.
So I haven't made sense.
I'm not being unfair.
I haven't made sense.
We're talking about. We're talking about actions that have been criticized by the president.
That would be the last.
That have been visited on chiefs. And you've heard what the lawyer said. Then you take us to
Roland.
No, please.
It will be the last thing you saw the president. So you're not allowing me to make sense.
No, the two of you, please.
You not allow me to make sense. That when he was mowing that, 200 people were going to cut grass. That 200 people were going to cut an acre of land, which was so unproductive.
Can I ask a question, Mr. Chavez?
Yeah, go ahead.